I was the kind of man my father could be proud of once. Coached Little League on Saturdays, never missed a Sunday once. Had a reputation in this town for doing what was right. Then something broke inside me on a cold October night. I can blame the whiskey, I can blame the stress, the job, the pain. But the truth is that I made a choice and everything's changed. Now I see my reflection and I don't know who that is. The man I thought I'd always be got lost in what I did. They say one moment of weakness can undo a lifetime of strong. And I'm living proof that good men still can do wrong. I used to be good, or at least I thought I was. I used to be the guy who did the right thing just because. Now I'm standing in the rubble of the man I used to be, asking God if grace is big enough for someone like me. I used to be good, now I don't know what I am, just a broken man reaching for a merciful hand. My wife won't look me in the eye, my daughter changed her name. The church I helped to build won't let me through the doors again. And I understand it, I really do. I burned down what I built, but God, the weight of being unforgiven is a heavy kind of guilt. I read about King David and the things that he had done, a man after God's own heart who still fell to temptation. If there was hope for him, maybe there's a sliver left for me. Or maybe I'm just desperate, clinging to theology. They say confession's good for the soul, but it don't change the past. That forgiveness is available, but trust is earned back slow and last. I used to be good, or at least I played the part. I used to be the man with a pure and faithful heart. Now I'm drowning in the aftermath of who I've come to be, asking God if mercy's still available for me. I used to be good, now I'm just a cautionary tale, a warning sign that anyone can stumble, anyone can fail. Maybe redemption don't mean going back to who you were before you fell. Maybe it means becoming someone new, someone humbled, someone who can tell the truth about the darkness and the light that pulled them through. Maybe God don't want the old me back, maybe He's making something true out of all this brokenness, out of all this shame. Maybe grace don't restore you, it just calls you by a different name. I used to be good, or at least I wore the mask. I used to be the answer when the lost would come and ask. Now I'm one of them face down in the dirt and on my knees, learning that God's grace is deeper than my history. I used to be good, but good wasn't enough to save. Only Jesus is, only mercy, only undeserved grace. I may never be the man I was, that version might be gone, but maybe God can use a broken man who knows he's done wrong. I used to be good, now I'm just His, learning how to live again in the shadow of what is. I used to be good. Now I'm just forgiven, and maybe that's enough. There's a dirt path running up a hill outside Jerusalem, worn smooth by soldiers' boots and prophets' feet and condemned men. I've walked 1,000 miles in my life, trying to outrun my sin. But every road I've ever traveled leads me back to that hill again. They say that grace is free, and I believe that's true. But somebody had to pay the toll before it got to me and you. There's blood mixed in the dust on that ancient stone. Every step he took was one I should have made. Every drop he shed was debt I couldn't pay. The road to Calvary wasn't easy. It was uphill all the way. 33 years of walking toward a cross that had my name. Grace is free, but it sure cost something. Cost him everything he had. So when I say I'm forgiven, I remember the road he walked so I don't have to. The road to Calvary. I think about the weight he carried, not just the wooden beam, but every lie I've told, every promise I've broken in between. Every time I chose the darkness when he offered me the light. Every selfish, prideful, hateful moment magnified. They say he could have called down angels, could have walked away, but he looked down through the ages, saw my face and chose to stay. Nailed up between two criminals like he was one himself, so that criminals like me could find redemption and find help. Every wound he bore was meant for my skin. Every moment of that suffering, he took my place in it. The road to Calvary wasn't easy. It was uphill all the way. 33 years of walking toward a tomb that wouldn't keep him contained. Grace is free, but it sure cost something. Cost him his very breath. So when I say I'm saved, I remember someone had to die so I could live. The road to Calvary. Maybe that's why mercy feels so sacred, why forgiveness carries weight. Not because we have to earn it, but because someone already paid. Every time I stumble, every time I fall, I remember what it cost to catch me. And it humbles me, it haunts me. It redefines what love means. When you see it on a cross, bleeding for your enemy. The road to Calvary wasn't easy. It was the hardest walk ever made. From a manger to a garden, to a hill where heaven met my shame. Grace is free, but Lord, it cost you everything. Cost you your only son. So when I live forgiven, I remember what you did can't be undone. The gift I didn't earn, the debt you chose to pay. The road to Calvary that leads me home today. Thank you for the road you walked, so I could find my way. Thank you for the price you paid. There's a war inside my head tonight. Both sides know my name. One sounds like mercy, one sounds like a man I was before I changed. The first one whispers, you come so far, don't throw it all away. The second one said, one time won't hurt, you've been good all day. I'm standing at the crossroads in my kitchen at 2 a.m. with a bottle in my hand and a Bible on the counter caught between them. One voice sounds like my mama's prayers, the other sounds like my own. And I'm caught here in the middle, trying to find my way back home. One voice speaks in consequences, the other speaks in lies. One reminds me who I am, the other tells me I can compromise. And there's two voices in my soul tonight, one pulling me down, one calling me high, one selling salvation, one selling fire. And I'm standing on the razor's edge between the man I am and the man I'm gonna be. Lord, make your voice the loudest one I hear, 'cause there's two voices and they're both so clear. Help me choose you over me. I remember when the first voice used to be the only sound, before I gave my life to you, before you turned me around. Back then temptation didn't feel like temptation, it just felt like life. Didn't know I was a slave until I tasted what it meant to fight. Now I hear conviction every time I'm reaching for what's wrong. And it's harder being halfway holy than it ever was being gone. 'Cause the enemy knows my weaknesses, knows exactly what to say. He sounds like me at my most desperate, on my worst and weakest day. One voice speaks with authority, the other speaks in shame. One calls me son, the other just keeps calling me by my mistakes. And there's two voices in my soul tonight, one pulling me down, one calling me high, one selling damnation, one offering fire that refines instead of burns. And I'm standing on the battlefield between surrender and resistance. Lord, cut through all the noise and distance, help me hear you through the fight. 'Cause there's two voices and they're both so real. Make yours the one that wins tonight. Maybe this is what it means to be sanctified, not the absence of the battle, but learning which voice is the guide. Not that temptation disappears, but that conviction grows more strong, that every time I choose the right voice, it gets easier to tell which one's wrong. The voice of fear says you'll fail again, the voice of grace says try, the voice of shame says you're not worth it, the voice of love says you're mine. There's two voices in my soul tonight, one pulling me down, one lifting me high, one dealing in darkness, one dealing in fire. Burns away what shouldn't remain. And I'm standing at the crossroads still, but I'm learning how to listen to the voice that says I'm forgiven, not the one that says I'm the same. There's two voices, but I'm choosing now the one who knows my name, not the one who knows my shame. I'm choosing you again. Make your voice the loudest, drown out all the rest. I'm listening for you. There's a mark across my wrist from when I hit rock bottom hard. Not from what you're thinking, from the wreck that left me scarred. I used to wear long sleeves in summer just to keep it out of sight, but now I see it different when it catches morning light. It's a reminder that I'm still here, that I made it through the crash, that broken doesn't mean defeated, and pain don't have to last. Every line across my body tells a story that I walked, and I'm learning how to wear them like a language that I taught. What I tried to hide for years is what I'm choosing now to show. 'Cause every wound that healed is proof that grace helped me to grow. Scars don't lie, they tell the truth about the battles that you've been through. They're not shame marks, they're survival signs, evidence that you're alive. Every tear in the fabric, every break that's mended is a testimony that you didn't stay where hell intended. So I'm wearing mine with something close to pride, 'cause scars don't lie, they prove you survive. My daddy had a scar that ran from his collar to his chest, from the surgery that saved him when his heart gave out from stress. He traced it with his finger when he thought nobody saw, like he was reading Braille, remembering what almost was. Before he died, he told me, "Son, this mark saved my whole life," reminding me each morning that I got a second try. Don't you hide the evidence of everything you've overcome. Let your scars be sermons about everywhere you're from. What the world calls broken, God calls being remade. What looks like damage is really just the price of being saved. Scars don't lie, they tell the truth about the wars you didn't think you'd make it through. They're not failures, they're fighting lines, evidence of resilience. Every wound that's closed, every bone that's set is a witness to the grace you'll never forget. So I'm carrying mine without trying to hide, 'cause scars don't lie, they prove you're refined. Jesus kept his scars even after he rose, showed Thomas his hand, said, "See, this is how love goes." Even in glory he wore the wounds to prove that broken can be beautiful, that suffering has purpose, that the marks we carry tell a story worth preserving. Maybe that's why he didn't erase them, maybe that's the point. We're not supposed to be unmarked, we're supposed to be remade. Scars don't lie, they tell the truth about the mercy that reached down and pulled you through. They're not endings, they're starting lines, evidence of new life. Every place you broke and somehow came back whole is a map of redemption written on your soul. So I'm wearing mine like holy signs, 'cause scars don't lie, they prove God's faithful every time. Yeah, scars don't lie, they prove you're still alive. Not hiding anymore, wearing my story, every scar, every glory. sitting on the edge of my bed at 4 a.m. Staring at the ceiling, counting all my sins again. The eviction notice is on the table by the door. My kids are with their mother, don't come around here anymore. I lost my job on Monday, lost my pride about a year ago. Lost my face somewhere between the bottle and the letting go. There's a voice inside that whispers, this is where your story ends. But there's another voice that's louder saying, try again. When you're standing at the bottom, looking up at where you fell, that's when you find out mercy meets you even in your hell. Grace hasn't given up on me, even when I've given up on everything. When the world says I'm too far gone, grace keeps singing me a song, says come on home, you're not alone. I've been here all along. When hope feels like a memory, grace hasn't given up on me. There's a Bible that my grandma gave me back in '99. Been sitting in a box untouched for all this time. Something made me dig it out tonight, cracked the spine. Fell open to a verse about the ones that Jesus came to find. The sick, the lost, the broken, those who think they've gone too far. I read it 3 times slowly, traced the words with my finger in the dark, and I swear I felt a presence in that empty rented room. Like someone had been waiting there to tell me it's not over, it's not through. When you're certain you've exhausted every second chance you'll get, that's when grace reminds you it ain't finished with you yet. Grace hasn't given up on me, even when I've given up on everything. When my mirror shows a stranger's face, grace still calls me by my name, says stand up child, take my hand. This is where we start again. When love feels like a fantasy, grace hasn't given up on me. Maybe the end of the line is just the beginning of grace. Maybe when we've got nothing left, that's when we finally have space for something bigger than ourselves, something we can't manufacture, something that pursues us even when we're running from the answer. God, you meet us in the wreckage, in the ruins of our plans. You don't wait for us to get it right, you just keep extending your hand. Grace hasn't given up on me, even when I thought I lost everything. When the darkness felt like it would win, grace broke through and let the light back in. Said you're mine, you've always been. This is not where your story ends. When faith feels like a fragile thing, grace is strong enough for both of us. When I'm certain I'm not worth the love, grace says that's not for you to judge. And I'm learning to believe that grace hasn't given up on me. No, grace will never give up on me. You're still here, you're still reaching, thank you for not leaving. God, I don't have the words, I've run out of everything. Excuses, energy, options, I'm at the end. And I know that's probably supposed to scare me, but somehow it doesn't. Because you're here in this mess, in this darkness, in this absolute bottom of the barrel moment where I've got nothing left to offer you but my emptiness. And the crazy thing is, you don't seem bothered by that. You don't need me to clean up first or figure it out or prove I'm worthy. You're just here waiting like you've been here the whole time I was running, like you never left even when I did. I don't know how to come back from where I've been. I don't know how to rebuild what I've destroyed. But if you're telling me there's still a chance, if grace really hasn't given up on me, then I'm yours. I'm done running. I'm done pretending I can fix this on my own. Take this broken life and make something out of it. Use these ashes for something and help me believe that the end of me is just the beginning of what you can do. I'm ready. Finally, I'm ready. Amen.